What is going on, Kyle? We got week 2 college football. Pretty much crushed it last week on my picks. How'd you do with yours? I went 5-1.
I was 50-50, I believe. Um, the kicker that made it 50-50 was the over the Georgia, and that didn't even come close.
No, that was a big disappointment. That
Yeah,
was a big time letdown.
yeah. But we're doing good. Even money with college football and with your picks, we're way up.
Wrinkly brain here. We're killing it.
Yeah, and we did all right in college football DFS. It was my first time doing it.
Yep.
I did learn some things that'll help us this week. And we're back at it. It's a 12-team slate. We're going over the Saturday card at noon. I do have a team entered in one of the bigger contests. Um, and just to start off, we'll go over some of the biggest favorites in that slate. So it's
Yep.
going to be Florida is minus 28.
Yep.
So targeting players from Florida would be a positive, you would think,
Yep.
according to Vegas.
Yep.
Georgia is minus 24.5. Penn State's minus 23. Texas A&M minus 17. And Notre Dame is minus 16.5.
Yep.
That with the biggest totals of the week. So Oregon, Ohio State is 63.5. South Carolina, ECU is 58. And this is just the games in the DraftKings slate. This is not the whole week. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, like I said, South Carolina, ECU, 58. Florida, USF, 58. Pitt, Tennessee, 57. And Ball State, Penn State is 57 as well.
Yep.
Um, like I said, it's a 12-team slate. There's a million college football players, so we can't hit them all. But we can go over some of our favorite players. We'll start at quarterback. Who are your favorite players at quarterback, Scott, this week?
All right. Haynes King to start. He's a little expensive. He's sitting at 8,300 right now on DraftKings. Quarterback for Texas A&M. I think how many points did they score last week? A ton, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch a lot of the games, but I was following them on my phone because I was up in Maine. We didn't have any TV up there, so also liking the quarterback for Tennessee, Tion Evans sitting at 6,300. He's a little bit of a cheaper option. And then also, I think Iowa put up a bunch of points, and they had a hell of a lot of touchdowns last week. I'm going my third guy, Tyler Goodson, at 7,100.
I like it. And Texas A&M scored 41 last week against Kent State.
Zillion.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like them. My quarterbacks, I went expensive. I'm not slacking on quarterback this week. That was one thing I tried to do last week that did not pay off. So I'm going with C.J. Stroud, Ohio State. He didn't have the greatest first half, but he bounced back and threw 4 touchdown passes in the second half. Uh,
Yeah.
3 of them being over 50 yards. He was the Big Ten Freshman of the Week, and the game total is the highest of the entire slate. Love C.J. Stroud at 8,600. Next, I'm going a quarterback who did not put up a lot of points in J.T. Daniels for Georgia.
Mm,
He played Clemson's defense, who's possibly the best
very good.
defense
Yeah.
besides Georgia
Right.
in college football.
Right.
They're playing UAB. UAB is not Clemson.
Right. Yeah.
uh, Georgia favored by 24.5 points. And the JT Daniels is going to be a big part of that. They should outclass UAB, and JT Daniels should bounce back here. And then my last quarterback, Sean Clifford for Penn State. He was another one, came alive in the second half. Stated after the game he feels like his offensive coordinator now fully trusts him, and feels like he was set loose a little bit in that game. Him and the OC seem to have a good relationship going forward. I think Clifford is going to thrive, and Penn State is going to roll over Ball State.
Yes.
Also
I
one of
would
the biggest totals.
Yeah. Ball State is not Wisconsin.
No. Running back wise, who do you like?
All right. So I ended up going. I'm pretty heavy on Texas A&M this week in my teams. I got Devin Achane or Achan or Akon, however the hell you pronounce that, running back out of Texas A&M, and then I got Travis Dye out of Oregon. I think that's a pretty high scoring game. He'll probably sneak in maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns on the goal line there. And where's the other guy? Right here. Deneric Prince. I'm sorry. LD Brown, running back out of Oklahoma State. They're playing. Oklahoma State is a team that scores a ton of points, and they're going up against crappy Tulsa team. In-state rivalry here. Well, if you can call it a rivalry, but both teams are from Oklahoma. I think they're not going to take their foot off the gas pedal here. I think they're going to score as many as they can.
I like it. And we did not go over these prior to talking about it, and we did not pick any of the same players yet. My first running back I'm going Kyron Williams from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He wasn't that effective on the ground last week, but he did have 6 catches for 83 yards and a score. He's a big playmaker. They rely on him. He's going to touch the ball at least 20 times a game for Notre Dame. Notre Dame should win this game relatively easily. I like Kyron Williams to score most of his points through the air, and this is PPR, so Kyron Williams even more effective. Same reasoning, I'm going with Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina, 6,600. Mitchell also made his mark through the air, and Ehlers, East Carolina's quarterback, is horrible. So he needs a check down. That check down happens to be Keaton Mitchell. So that's where he benefits from that. It should be a relatively close game against a not-so-great South Carolina team. I still think South Carolina wins that game. But Keaton Mitchell is one of the ECU's only players who can score, so I like Keaton this week. And then probably my favorite play is Jarek Broussard out of Colorado at 7,000. This is the write-up that DK did themselves, and I liked it a lot. So it says, against tougher opponents, you can expect to see Broussard as the bell cow back, but with the game well in hand, Broussard shared the wealth with 4 other running backs, 3 of whom scored. He should be heavily utilized against Texas A&M, who you were just saying is going to score a lot of points.
Yep.
So expect to see Jarek Broussard maybe get those touchdowns that we saw his teammates get last week.
Like it.
That brings us to wide receivers. Who you liking, Scotty?
Yeah, so I ended up taking the rest of my team is receivers. The receivers as well as the flex and super flex. So first guy out of Texas A&M. Ionias, Ainias, Ionias Smith. Coming in at 7,600, averaging 33.6 points per game. Then we go to Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, again averaging over 20 points a game. He's a little bit of a cheaper guy at 5,900. Again, Oregon scores a shit ton of points, but they also give up quite a few as well. And then I got one more guy on Ohio State in Chris Olave. And then my flex guys are also receivers. Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saint, 5,500. And Avery Davis was dirt cheap, sitting at 4,700. He's a running back out of Notre Dame. So I ran out of money and had to pick someone to pick someone who is playing someone that is not very good in Toledo.
I like it. We, again, still have not picked any of the same players. There's just
there's
so many
too many
to choose from. Yeah. My first wide receiver I'm going with is Tate Martin out of Oklahoma at 6,900. He had 6 catches for 107 yards last week. Last year he had 3 100-yard games, so he's already got one. He also induced several pass interference calls last week. So if those aren't pass interference calls, it's even more yards. I like Oklahoma. I like their ability to score, so Tate Martin's going to be a huge part of that.
Nice.
And then Justin Hall out of Ball State, 6,300. He's like their only good player. He had 8 catches for 137 yards last week. He's their, like I said, he's literally their best player. They just keep trying to get him the ball, and against Penn State, they're going to have to at least try to score.
Yeah.
And they're going to be trying to score through Justin Hall. And then my little sleeper down here is a name you might recognize as Nico Ragini out of Iowa, 4,200.
Hamden guy, or East Haven, West Haven guy.
So he's coming back from injury. He was basically hurt all preseason, but he still was able to play, and he got 2 receptions for 21 yards. We should see that increase as the season goes on. He's kind of a possession guy. They do like him over in Iowa, and he's a guy who can score. And one thing I just wanted to go over that I learned last week, I liked your Superflex was a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And last week I tried to go two quarterbacks, and I think it was just a little too pricey. And seeing how much receivers score in DFS, especially PPR. Yeah.
You got to go receiver.
I think receiver is the way to go at Superflex going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a great college football slate. Do you want to get into betting cards?
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Things that I like to really hammer is teams coming off of either big wins or big losses, fade them the next week.
I like that.
So going with this theme, I think we have to probably fade Virginia Tech and take Middle Tennessee plus 20.5 after their huge upset win against North Carolina last week, which I said to you privately was the trap of the week, and it absolutely was.
It was.
So I think now I'm by no means saying that I think Middle Tennessee State beats Virginia Tech, but I think it's probably they probably lose by 2 touchdowns, maybe 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Another one that I'm looking at here, Purdue minus 34 over Yukon. Absolutely fade Yukon. The only thing that gives me pause about fading Yukon in this game this week is they did fire their coach, Randy Edsall. He did say he was going to finish out the year, and then Monday he actually announced that he's getting the fuck out of there.
Randy Edsall's a loser. Last time
Randy Edsall
UConn,
is a loser, but so the only thing that made me change my mind and pull the trigger on Purdue is that the guy they got to replace him is the defensive coordinator who gave up 38 to the mighty Holy Cross Crusaders, or whatever the fuck Holy Cross is, and 45 to Fresno State.
Did you see the guy who's taking over is also the guy who went viral last week with he's in the huddle, he's screaming at Yukon who's losing the Holy Cross, and he tells everyone, get your hands into the middle, and nobody does. Not a single person, and he's taking over as head coach. I'm all over Purdue too.
All over.
Fade Yukon all year long.
The fuck out of Yukon.
Yeah, Purdue's going to score 1 million, and Yukon's not going to score at all.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then in terms of fade very bad teams, I'm liking BC minus 37.5 against UMass.
I'm also on that.
Yep, the mighty UMass Minutemen. They've been terrible for 30 years, I think. They were certainly terrible when I was going there. Moving on, I think we probably have to hammer Clemson, but they don't have a game this week. We got to take Wisconsin minus 26 after getting beat by Penn State. And then probably should take North Carolina. I'm sure Mac Brown has been just throwing chairs all week after getting beat at Virginia Tech. And I believe they're at home. Yes, North Carolina's at home. dropped all the way down to 24. So,
Like it.
yeah.
All right, I got a 8-team card here, and I'm going to start it off with I like Notre Dame minus 16.5 against Toledo. They're at home this week. Their coach said they all deserve to be executed. Gotta like that.
Yeah.
Coming into a week against a team like Toledo, 16.5, they should win by 21 at least. So I like Notre Dame.
Executed. Love the death threats.
Yeah. I like South Carolina -1 against East Carolina.
Yep.
East Carolina's horrible. Ehlers, just a fun fact. Ehlers is a starting quarterback at East Carolina.
Yep.
Ehlers is from Greenville, North Carolina. He has ties to the school. And East Carolina is a team that likes to be a little bit too nice. And they're starting Ehlers, who just sucks because he's from Greenville. Just like they were nice to Ruffin McNeil.
Yep.
Just like everyone else. East Carolina is a program to fade, just like Yukon, just like UMass.
Yep. And it helps that we know how bad they are firsthand.
Yeah. I like Minnesota -20 against Miami of Ohio. I like Rutgers -2.5 against Syracuse. That's one of my favorite plays of the week.
Yeah.
I was on Purdue 33. I had 33.5. I guess it's gone up. It's probably just going to keep going up until you grab it.
be minus 100 by game time.
Yeah, right. Georgia -24.5 against UAB. I think their offense comes alive this week. That was a tough game versus Clemson. It wasn't a loss, but it's like,
Kinda.
right. Georgia is a team that should put up points, and they should against UAB. BC, I have them against UMass, just like you. Those 37, they try to scare you with those big lines, but those teams win by 50 every time.
Yeah. Pitt was minus 37.5, or it might have even been 38.5, and they won by like 48.
Right. And then I have Stanford. They're kind of my team this year, +17 at USC.
I like that a lot. I have one more pick. I like the Miami Hurricanes -9.
That's a
over
bounce
Apple.
back.
Big time bounce back. I was looking for other games that fit the model, and
Yeah,
that is definitely
that's a
one
great
of them.
one. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot. I'm gonna add
After
that to
getting
my card.
trounced.
I'm gonna add that to my card as well.
Yeah.
All right. You want to get out of here and then do NFL?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do
All
it.
right.